Lord have mercy, I just realized that I did not get myself anything to drink. And my throat is going to get super dry. But I'm going to try to finish what I have to say today. And I hope that whoever will pay attention, let me see, my volume is up. Let me see. Yes, volume is up. Whoever will pay attention, I thank you for it. And I hope you will share this too. We're going to talk today about Independence Day. And I'm talking about this not only for black people, but for white people too. These are my horn rim glasses. These are the glasses that I got from when I was in New York, when I first read Malcolm X's autobiography, and he had on the horn rims. So anytime I get a prescription, I always I get these redone. So let's go through this thing. I thank you all who will listen. I don't respond to anything that's on the screen. I don't wait for people to come in because I'm not talking for vainglory, because I can't handle attention. I don't like attention. I like to pay for my services if I offer services, but I don't like attention. So we're coming up on Independence Day, July the 4th. And I've been struggling with this thing, whether I should talk about it, whether I shouldn't talk about it. But when God tugs my coat and I get real anxious and nervous, I even tried to listen to music today and tried to forget about what I had to say. But like Jonah, if you run away, you're just going to end up in the belly of the fish. So I'm going to talk about this thing because we have to talk about it. And this is specifically for my people, for black people, and specifically for white people, for different reasons. For white people, because you all think that what occurred to us was minute, small, like get over it. But when you are damaged psychologically, you can't just get over it. And for white people, because you all today may not have had anything to do with slavery then, or what occurred then, but you live off of the residuals of what occurred then. You have a head start because of what occurred then. That was the purpose of slavery. The purpose of slavery for you all was free labor so you wouldn't have to pay, and to give you a head start. We were like chattel slaves, like batteries. That's how we were. I'm talking about Independence Day for black people because all of us, well, those of us who watched the movie Sinners and the vampire theme that went along with it, about sucking the lifeblood out of a person and then injecting them with the vampire blood that the vampires wanted to live forever. When we live vicariously through a person or people or an event, when we live vicariously through them, they are sucking our life's blood. So when we celebrate July 4th as Independence Day, that is not the Independence Day of black people in America. I want you to hear me out. Everybody calm down. You ain't got to hide. You don't have to run away. Don't nobody know you're looking at the broadcast. The government, this ain't enemy of the state. The government ain't looking at me because I don't have enough followers for them to look at me. Only thing looking at me is algorithms and people who report what I'm saying and get me cut off. That's it. July the 4th, 1776 was the engrossed Declaration of Independence. July 4th, 1776. But the Declaration of Independence wasn't signed, primarily signed until August the 2nd, 1776. It was drafted on July 4th, 1776, signed on August 2nd, 1776. Can anyone tell me what was happening in 1776 to black people in America? We were slaves. We were slaves to the British, slaves to the 13 colonies. We were slaves. So the Declaration of Independence was the 13 colonies of America declaring their freedom from Great Britain. But the 13 colonies, all white, had slaves. Then George Washington wrote in the Declaration of Independence a slavery clause. And that clause, you can look it up for yourself, but he talked about how slavery was wrong. But at the same time, he had slaves. He used slaves' teeth to make false teeth for himself. This was going on July the 4th, 1776, August 2nd, 1776. The Declaration of Independence included 13 colonies. Those 13 colonies had nothing to do with us. So when we put our energy wrongfully misguided into someone else's celebration of their independence from Great Britain, but yet they are celebrating the fact that they're independent and they can do with slaves whatever they please. Yet we are thinking, as a slave at the bottom of the barrel, that somehow on July 4th we all become equal. That's ignorance. We're ignorant. I was ignorant for a lot of years. I celebrated July 4th. I popped the fireworks and I did all of those things because it was fun. And what happens with us is that they make atrocities, they make them fun. So we make jokes about it or we celebrate it. And we party hard on the 4th of July. But what we are doing is celebrating vicariously. And I'm going to tell you what that means. You can look it up while I'm talking. We celebrate vicariously through someone else's success. So we start saying we. But it's not we. It's them. I'm coming to a nice point. Because July 4th, for black people, should be celebrated. I had to wait for a minute because they cut me off. I said the word black people and it cut off. But July 4th for us should be celebrated along with white people, along with Mexican people, along with all races of people, but not for the same reason. For the same prayer of an eventual result of unity and people seeing each other as human, but not for what happened on July not for what happened on July 4th, 1776. Because if we celebrate that, all of our energy goes to that. We party and feel good, and then we feel drained because the blood, the life blood, has been sucked from us. So here's what you do. I got a little bit more to talk about. Say a prayer on July 3rd, 4th, and thank God for his mercy. And engage in the practice of being grateful. Engage in the practice of having gratitude. Gratitude for the slaves who suffered in 1776, whose vaginas were being split open and babies cut out of their stomachs, men who were being pulled apart by horses and branded and beaten and raped and molested and brainwashed, psychologically destroyed. The proof of that is what we are today. Be grateful for their sacrifice, because they sacrifice more pain than any of you street folks who brag about, I was shot here and I was shot there and I got shot 46 times in my stomach and 22 times in my legs. They suffered more than we do today. Show gratitude to mama. She on crack? She sleeping around. She drinking liquor. You know why? You ever put yourself in her shoes? You just want her to be, I'm sorry, I had to stop again. They blocked me again. You just want her to be perfect because you saw the people down the street got what appears to be a perfect mom and dad. We must learn to have gratitude. Because my mother, God rest her soul, didn't have a lot of nothing, but my mother never let us go. Never. Never turned us over to somebody else. If she was outside, we were outside. If she was in a place, we were in a place. So we're talking about vicarious living and the dangers of it. This is the reality of vampirism. The reality of someone sucking your soul out of you for their celebrations. And that's why biblical text speaks of paganistic rituals. It's paganistic for us, not for them. They're celebrating that they fought against Great Britain and Great Britain seceded and they got their independence, the 13 colonies. We didn't get any independence. We didn't fight. Not until, and we're about to get to that point now. And then we're going to close. So the signing of the Declaration of Independence, which is what we're celebrating on the 4th, July 4th, 1776, that was the draft, but the actual signing was August 2nd, 1776. I'm trying to make this as pleasant as possible because, you know, sometimes we misconstrue things, misinterpret it, and it just gets horrible. But I'm thinking about the future of our children because they really think they're going to survive by not knowing anything of our history. So during the signing of the Declaration of Independence in 1776, it says, yes, during the signing of the Declaration of Independence in 1776, many black people were still slaves. George Washington had slaves. Of course, he's one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence. And far before First Lady Michelle Obama spoke about slaves building the White House, we had a commentary about that. But there were many, many slaves who built the White House in D.C. I'm coming to a closing point. And I like where this is going. The Emancipation Proclamation, officially proclaiming 95, was a presidential proclamation, an executive order issued by the United States President Abraham Lincoln on January 1st of 1863 during the American Civil War. Now, we're going from the Declaration of Independence in 1776, which we were still slaves, to the Emancipation Proclamation in January 1st of 1863. Now, how many of you have ever heard of Watch Night Service? Watch Night Service, what churches celebrate on December 31st, they go to the church, and I don't know what they do in the church, but Watch Night Service originated with slaves going to the house of worship on December 31st, praying that President Abraham Lincoln would sign the Declaration of Independence and give us, would sign the Emancipation Proclamation, that Abraham Lincoln would sign the Emancipation Proclamation and give us the opportunity to practice being emancipated. And eventually leading up to, okay, it blanked out again. And eventually leading up to independence and then freedom. How many of you understand that we are not a free people? How many of you really understand that we are not a free people? That we don't have the mechanics that makes up a nation of free people? Have you ever heard on the internet these black radical groups talking about taking their guns and taking back their freedom and fighting for this and that? It wouldn't work because we don't have a delegation of people who will lay down laws and hold those laws, strict laws, in place that we don't violate them and we can build a civilized society. Our idea of civilized society is anarchy. doing whatever we want to do. You see what's happening on the Carnival cruises? You know they banned the popping the fans on the Carnival cruises? You can't do that anymore. You can't bring the fans on a Carnival cruise. You can't even bring a JBL pill or a speaker on a Carnival cruise. Because we get on there and we want to make our own rules. And our rules have no respect for anyone else. It's just whatever we want to do. So we're not a free people. We're still up here enslaved, and we're thinking that freedom is doing whatever we want. That's why there's so much death in the black community, because the lower level of us have made up a set of rules that says if you break the rules, I won't tell nobody. That's snitching if I tell. I'm coming to a point. So we celebrate an Independence Day that has nothing to do with us. Do you understand me? What we should be doing as we celebrate is having internal gratitude to God for giving us another day to try to understand how to become free. We have elected officials who act like children. We have pastors and preachers who think that they are above moral law. We got ex-officials who will come up in your face and jack you up and break all of the laws of a moral society, yet present themselves as the example of what we're supposed to be as a society. We are not an independent people. We do not have freedom. We have God if we seek him, and we have gratitude, and we should be grateful. I'm moving on. The Emancipation Proclamation, officially signed in January 1st of 1863. 63. 2 years later, in 1865, General Gordon Granger and his troops went to Galveston, Texas, to officially tell the blacks there who were still being held in chattel slavery that you all don't have to live this life anymore. You are free to make an attempt at the American dream. That's freedom. To make an attempt at living a better life. But we are not free people, because we live vicariously through someone else's life. Now, let me look up this word vicarious, and we're going to close. I don't think I need my glasses for that. Vicariously is in a way that is experienced in the imagination through the actions of another person. So we look at white people, we want their houses, but now we're getting nice houses, but guess what we do with the nice houses? We inward them out. Grass not cut, old cars in the front yard, old cars in the backyard, loud parties, smoke weed every day, just whatever. So it's not the house that is the pleasure. It is the respect of the home, the respect of yourself, the respect of your community, the respect of God and his grace, the respect of your and my people in all of their suffering, that we can now live better because of what they sacrifice. But out of respect, we must learn. They blanked me out again. Out of respect, we must learn how to utilize freedom, period. And we don't know how. How do you use freedom? You turn around and you mistreat people the same way you're mistreated. Or you turn around and you bully people the same way you were bullied. Think about this for a minute. Logically, the 13 colonies were tired of being under the foot of Great Britain. So they fought to get from under the foot of Great Britain. At the same time, the freedom they were fighting for, they took away from another people. Do you understand that? Same way gangs say they're in the community to protect it, but they brutalize the citizens in the community. Same way the police department, many of them misuse their powers and brutalize the people in the community. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we live vicariously in a way that is experienced in the imagination through the actions of another person. We always bragging. We always looking at LeBron, always looking at stars. And they put these stars before you and then they crush them. So all of that energy you put into these ministers and pastors and politicians, they wait for you to fall in love with them. And then they crush them. During slavery, they called that buck breaking. They would take the strongest black man, the one who everybody looked up to, and they would tie his, this is true, they would tie his hands, both hands to a horse in both directions, both legs to a horse in another direction, and beat the horse until the horse ripped the man's body apart. And they made the pregnant women watch that so that the fear of their best man being destroyed by white people would be in them. So today what you see in black women, what they say? They say they don't need no man. Because that fear is still in them. I'm making a point. In the black man, we can tear up our community. Look at 4Extra. He just want to go in. He want to go in on everybody. He want to fade. He want to fade. But he won't fade no white person. Our energy is specifically designed for destroying us. This is what happened. So our independence was not in 1776, nor was our emancipation in Lord have mercy. My mind just went blank already. 1863, I know it like the back of my hand. Just went blank for a minute. Nor was our emancipation in 1865. So what happens when you live vicariously through someone? What are the dangers of living vicariously, celebrating someone else's day, someone else's paganistic holiday? What happens when we put all our money into Christmas, into Easter, into all of these paganistic holidays that aren't our day? They disconnected me again. What happens? Okay. The negative effects of living vicariously through someone. Living vicariously through someone can have negative effects, including feelings of envy, jealousy, insecurity, and obsession. It may prevent you from focusing on your own life and achieving real goals. If vicarious living becomes your primary way of life, it can lead to dependency on others for happiness and fulfillment. So you see how that comes right back? Vicarious living through someone else's success leads to dependency on them. We are a dependent people. And now we're behaving like children. We don't have the gratitude necessary for God to lift us out of our condition. Don't matter how much money you make, ask yourself, how do you make your money? Who cuts your check? Do you do it, or do you work for someone who cuts your check? Yes, you drive an 18-wheeler, but do you cut your check? Do you pay yourself taxes? So what do we do on Independence Day? Look around. All of the different color people who are now a part of this country. And comprehend clearly that we are still at the bottom of the independence barrel. But we live vicariously through Barack Obama. He's gone now. And we still talk about Obama. He's gone. He's getting paid $100,000 just to get out of his bed and speak. He gets they cut me off. Everything that they give us, we're living vicariously through. And because we're angry, because we're frustrated, we love to look at shows where black people are being beat up, baddies, and all of this other disrespectful stuff. And every single older star, male and female, that we looked up to as children are now playing in movies where the women are sleeping with younger men and talking ghetto street talk. That's why they gave us Jasmine Crockett, because she just talked that ghetto talk. Intelligent woman. but just as crazy as a brick. And we got a lot of them in Clarendon County. But they took all of the people we look up to as movie stars, and they turned them into nothing. Look at your favorite show. Lynn Whitfield and all of these great actors and actresses playing ghetto roles now. Because they work for somebody. Look at Tyler Perry, Lee Daniels, the movies they put out. So this Independence Day, be grateful, be thankful that your and my families, although they suffered much, they made it through that we were born, and we have an opportunity to change things. And I know most of us can't see how far we are behind, but we are all one paycheck away from poverty. I don't care what your level is. I know a person that was making close to $1 million that's working in a factory now. I have someone so close to me, they're my lifeblood, that lost their nearly $100,000 job for no reason but that the person over them didn't like them, not their job performance. So when someone has control over you like that, and that's whether you get food stamps, EBT, welfare, whether you work for the government, whether you got a lawyer, a doctor, a preacher, every position is taken. So unless we are willing to sacrifice ourselves for our future, that's our fight. The colonies fought for their freedom. When did we ever fight for our freedom? I mean, knock down, drag out, sign a Declaration of Independence that we're going to separate from America and the 13 colonies and build our own black colony, absent of Africa, absent of America, but we're going to prove that we can do for ourselves. When did we ever do that? We did not. So we did not fight for our freedom. We're living vicariously through someone else's fight. When you join the army, you're fighting for the 13 colonies. My children, all of them in the military. And I respect our military because I'm an American. I am an American, born here. It's all I know. All I know. I love it. And I've been to the East. I've been to the Emirates. I've been to Bahrain. I've been to Kuwait. I've been to Dubai, Abu Dhabi, all of those places. I lived there for a while. I love them too. But I love it here too. You understand? So my talk is not destructive talk. It's that you poke your chest out and learn to respect yourself, your home, your children, your wife or your husband, your community. Respect them. And God will raise us up higher. So this Independence Day, what are we doing? Gratitude. We're no longer going to live vicariously on no paganistic holiday. Every holiday that God gives that we are able to get off from work and spend with family, gratitude. Be grateful. We are here. We have an opportunity to better ourselves in a way that separates us from the vicarious living of someone else's success. Because a person who carries you can never respect you, can never love you. Do you understand that? So we can have fun together, people. We can have a decent time on July. I plan to. I do it all the time, even if I'm sitting in my house minding my business. I'm grateful, as you should be. So please share. I think I said everything I was supposed to say. So I thank all of you for tuning in. I wanted to really just deliver it this way. But I'm telling you that if you ever look at the movie Roots in closing, Fanta and Kunta were going to be married in Akibulan or in the East. And of course they were taken and brought here. And Kunta never stopped looking for his bride, for his queen, Fanta. But when he finally found out where she was and he went to get her, they were in the barn, and he said, I came to get you. And she said, no. And he said, Allah is going. She said, I don't want to hear nothing about no Allah. Massa, Jesus is my Massa. That's my man. That's him. And he's fall down on his knees to her vagina pretty much and said, I need you. And she couldn't please her man no more. So she screamed and alerted the white man, her new man, that her king was trying to come back and retrieve her. Kunta ended up having to run, and that's when he got his foot chopped off. Our women are chopping off our feet, man. They're not ours. Look at them. Look at their lashes and their hair. They would rather wear orange hair than black hair. That's not freedom. That's anarchy. Think about it for a minute. Thank God for his mercy. Have gratitude and beg God, as I do every night, to have mercy on our ignorance and help us to grow. Because if we live vicariously through someone else, the negative effects in closing include feelings of envy. And we got that in the black community. Feelings of jealousy, insecurity, and obsession. We obsessed with getting the bag. We really think that money is going to save us. We really do. It may prevent you from focusing on your own life and achieving real goals. Living vicariously through people, someone else's success, you start dreaming about their success with you in their place. And it gets to the point, like on the street, where drug dealers kill other drug dealers because they want their spot and didn't realize they couldn't hold the spot because they didn't know what this guy knew. It's in politics. It's everywhere. The dangers of vicarious living. Finally, if vicarious living becomes your primary way of life, it can lead to dependency on others for happiness and fulfillment. So we depend on drugs. We depend on church. We can't miss it. We depend on it for happiness. We're not looking for God. We're looking for happiness. Turn up loud music for happiness. Smoke weed, happiness. Lie, cheat, steal, happiness. The punishments of vicarious living. Satan is sucking the life blood out of our soul, and we're becoming soulless. And when you become soulless, you're so hot. You're so cold, that you need to feel warmth. So you see our young people, hoods, sweatshirts, and you say it's 90 degrees outside. Had to wait for the disconnect. They're not even sweating. We're in trouble. We're in a lot of trouble. And we can either live vicariously for today or plan a future in hopes that our children will pick it up tomorrow. Our children are committing suicide starting at age 10. I talked to the white coroner, the coroner in Sumter County. And he said to me, the suicide rate among black teens and black men is unprecedented. He has never seen so many black people killing themselves, either slow or fast. All right, Independence Day. This Independence Day, we are really going to practice independence and practice gratitude. Don't mean you have to be disrespectful to nobody, because they are having something downtown in Manning, and I plan on putting my little fold chair down and sitting there and enjoying seeing people enjoy themselves for as long as my health will allow. Then I'm going to get up and come on back to the house. But it's going to be gratitude. I thank you all.
Attention, incoming call.
And someone's just kind of trying to call me. I hope you'll stay tuned, because I got a lot of things to talk about. I just got to talk a little calmer, because you all are going around saying that I'm crazy. No. Very sane. Sometimes the crazy person is the person who thinks you crazy, because you're not doing what they're doing. Hello, somebody. I'm going to say it like the righteous, like the